Hi, so I will be presenting my final project now. Uh, just to start, there are no uh, memory leaks. Um, oh, so I should start it just to showcase it for the start. So my basic idea was to create like a launch pad for a space rocket kind of stuff. This launchpad I got from NASA's website. That was kind of good. I couldn't find it anywhere else. Then I have this little building supposed to be the control center or whatever they call it. Uh, this building, it was kind of complicated to texture because this building actually has 7 meshes. So I broke it down into, I mean, I couldn't find anything lower than that. So I broke it down into different meshes and then like transported them all. Uh, in here, there was no other way to texture it properly, so that's why I had to do it. So yeah, that took some time. Anyway, so this is basically it. There is a skybox. There is the terrain. Terrain can be lit up. This is basically a secluded area, and for outposts, spotlights moving. So if I have to follow the grading doc, the first thing was we were supposed to make pyramid cube spheres should include version of these model that can be textured and lit. For the cube, you should have a version that can be textured and lit. So first of all, there was already a sphere in there, so I had done the sphere in the fifth week, I think, or the sixth week, but then I couldn't get the lighting right for a long time, and even now the UVs are not correct, to be honest, but uh, better than nothing, I would say. Like, a sphere is still the most complicated thing for me for some reason. But anyway, I'm digressing. Uh, Sorry. So to show you the cube models which can be textured and lit, just to showcase, I mean that's why I didn't put them in the scene because it was weird. So that's lit cube that is being lit. That is a textured cube there. Uh, there is a football here, which I thought like maybe the scientists would like to play it. I don't know, uh, but yeah, it's not textured properly, but at least it's a sphere. Uh, other than that, it should be possible to set material textures and colors independently for each mesh. So, first of all, I like to shed some light on the building around here. So basically, these three models are just the building B1, B2, B3, and first I set like this is as far as I remember, this is only one mesh, and this middle one is 4 meshes, and the last one is 2 meshes. So just to showcase that I can set different colors for this, I'm gonna turn this on here, and there are just some random meshes. They are not like in order because it was it was kind of complicated to do this for me, especially because I've never used any modeling tool before. So you can see like I can put different colors on different meshes. Uh, and for all four are different one. I badly chose like similar looking colors. Uh, Other than that, it also asks for the textures. To show the texture, I'm just going to comment this out and show that if nothing is specified, it takes default texture automatically. So I think it's the roof. Yeah, it is. So you can see there is the brick texture on the top. It was not here before. Uh, right. It was. I wanted to show it was not here before, but okay. You can see it takes the default texture. HLSL shaders and associated shader, where the user can select the color of the model, where the user can apply a texture to the model. I think that is basically what I showcased here. Can select the color of a model, yes, because I was selecting the color of a model for every mesh here, and yeah, I'm applying texture to the model. Uh, Work in 3D, unlike early demos, implement fog lighting with multiple lights, implement spherical fog with user-provided parameters. So everything works in 3D. I'm implementing fog lights. You can see that from the spotlights, but to go into the code now, hmm, first of all, let me show you the texture light code here. I'm doing something weird as well. For pre-made models, actually, the application was crashing because it would ask for the mesh count, and of course, pre-made models don't have a mesh count. So I set a bool value to true, and based on that, I either do it for pre-made. I have to pass in the pre-made models. I do have to pass true, otherwise they'll just throw an error. So this is something to be mindful of. I mean, if I would have had the time, I most probably would have used an enum and created a type, and if it was that type, I would have uh, checked on the basis of that, but this was because there were so many other things in this project that I had to do, and uh, I've still not properly finished the study. But anyway, I'm again digressing. With multiple lights. So I basically have two directional lights and 2 point lights and four spotlights. So in the texture HLSL, I have given up on the old stupid method of actually having like two functions named one and two. Uh, Instead of that, now I'm finally running a loop here. In here, I have this runs for 4 times, 2 times because directional lights could be better for sure. This could be better. I should be providing some sort of variable depending on which the for loop should be running, not like kind of hard coding. But even I was checking out online examples. People seem to be doing this because it's very difficult without the intelligence to figure out what's really going on a lot of times, and HLSL is kind of different. Uh, I was going. So yeah, take 4 positions for spotlight, take 2 positions for point light, take directions, different directions for. So basically, what I do is like send based on the position. I, uh, uh, it sends the position in the for loop, and that's how I set it. It was pretty difficult to figure out, to be honest. It took a lot of time. Uh, Fog lighting with multiple lights. Implement spherical fog with user-provided parameters. So right now, actually, even in here, I would, if I can show you. So what I do is like if I kind of check if the fog start and fog range are less than 0, which would basically mean nothing has been entered. So I just set it to a high number, and that's why there is no fog effect right now. But in my app code, if I actually go down to the draw scene, and if I turn on the fog here, you'll see that there is this weird blue fog, but doesn't look all that good. But to be honest, I saw a screenshot of an old game prototype. It didn't have much better fog than this. The game was called Prototype, an Activision game from 2009, I think. The Skybox class creates its own invert cube model and applies a texture internally built to size as specified by the user. Take care of its own rendering. Yes, it does that. Uh, takes This is basically if I had another Skybox texture here, I would just swap it with this. Uh, I'd send the world. Yeah, I mean, I just call render on the skybox and it takes care of its own rendering. Now, there was this thing of creating it to a game object, but then I was like, it's not that much code. There's just one line here, and there are like, I'm doing like 3 lines here. So I first thought I could have put it into a function, but they could have done that for the same for the terrain as well. But then it just seemed like I could better utilize that time in doing other things in the project than. Uh, I mean, actually, I was putting this to the end because I knew I could do it, but now there is not much time. Terrain class creates its own model mesh based on a height map built to size as provided by the user, applies a texture, makes use of seamless texture with user provided repeat values, take care of its own rendering, vertices must include normal for lighting effect. Okay, so firstly, the terrain, I'm initializing it around, I have marked it, terrain model creation. It takes a scale. I have like I can actually provide the how much big it's gonna be, what is the height going to be, and I've positioned it here. It does use a seamless texture that I downloaded off the internet. It doesn't look much different than the grass one, to be honest, but I thought it looked different when I was using it for the first time. Vertices must include normal for use with lightning effect. I had my doubts that my vertices don't work fine, but I have tried putting lights on a lot of places and I don't see any faceting or anything like that. And I think I have implemented it uh, good. It works good because the normals I'm calculating the normals. It's like running this big loop and I'm doing the cross products of all the normals and in the end I'm just adding it and because it's like 6 normals so I just multiplied by 0.16 and that's how I calculate the normals and they seem to be working. So I don't think there is, I mean, there is no other way to test except the graphic debugger, of course. Which I did test and it seemed fine. Shader for color texture in their light version. So I have a graphic object class for color, I have graphic object class for texture, texture light, and color light. So I think I've covered everything, but right now I'm just using color light and texture light because it didn't make sense to use the other two. And yeah, it was getting too big anyway. Even with all this, I wonder if like wouldn't have used game object class in the first place, what kind of mess I would have been in. But it should be controlled on a permesh basis. I have already showcased the permesh basis property. It works the same way with the color shader light as well. Should properly manage model specific property related to the shaders. I mean, I set texture path, I set the color. Uh, this is for the texture light, and when it comes to color light, must be around here, should be around here. Yeah. I do it a bit differently. I actually, in the constructor itself, I send the parameters rather than having a setter because, uh, I mean, this seemed like good to me when I was doing this. Uh, now it does seem a bit odd compared to the texture light one, which seems like very systematic. I have not done any mirrors, so is there anything I'm missing? There are the watchtowers. Maybe I'll show those. Well, thank you. That was my presentation for today. I think I have covered everything that I did. Thank you. Thanks a lot.